Sit back, relax, and enjoy listening. SV's mother's voice faltered for a moment as she spoke, and RK could sense hesitation in her tone. She can handle so much, RK, almost anything, she said softly, her words almost trembling. But there's one thing she truly can't stand: completely closed and dark rooms. Whenever she's in one, she gets so afraid her heartbeat spikes. And her voice trailed off, leaving an unspoken tension in the air. RK leaned forward slightly, his voice calm yet curious. And Mom? What? There was a brief pause on the other end. Then, with a sigh, SV's mother continued, her voice laced with a sadness that spoke of a deeply buried pain. It's from her childhood, RK. Something happened, something that scarred her deeply. I can't recall everything, but it's a fear she's carried ever since. She tries to hide it from the world, from everyone. But deep down, no matter how strong she seems, she can't escape it. RK's breath hitched as the realization struck him. The memory of SV's anger that morning flashed in his mind. The sharp words, the fury in her eyes. It all began to make sense. SV's mother's voice carried a deep vulnerability, a side RK hadn't heard before. Her words wavered as though reliving a memory too painful to speak of easily. RK, whenever she's in such a situation, her voice dropped almost to a whisper. It's not just fear. It's paralyzing, completely consuming. Handling her becomes almost impossible even for me. It can take me hours, sometimes more than a day, to help her feel safe again. During those times she won't eat, won't sleep. Once, she didn't sleep for 2 days because she was so terrified. SV's mother paused as a single tear slipped from her eye, her voice breaking. RK's heart clenched as he waited in silence, sensing the weight of what she was about to say. After a moment she continued, her voice trembling with emotion. She was completely unreachable in that state, RK. And yet, SV's mother hesitated, her tone now tinged with amazement. She let you be there, son. You have no idea what that means. For her to allow you near her in that condition, it's almost impossible. I know her, RK. She doesn't let anyone near her when she's like that. Not me, not anyone. But you managed to stay by her side. RK's breath hitched as her words began to sink in. Not only did you stay, SV's mother added, her voice soft but full of certainty, but you comforted her, made her feel safe. You made sure she ate, even if it meant feeding her yourself. You stayed until she slept. And because of that, by morning, she was normal again. That's happened for the first time. She woke up, remembered her fear, and her anger turned inward. She was angry at herself for showing what she thinks is weakness, something she hates the most. She got angry with herself for being weak over something so small, something she hates the most. If it were anyone else, RK, I know she would never let them near her. Never. But you, I'm more than sure, son. It's you who made it possible. The way you always care for her, staying by her side even when she doesn't want you to. It's all because of your efforts. And maybe, just maybe, it's because of those efforts that you've won her trust, even in her worst condition. That trust is something impossible for anyone to earn, even on her best days. You know that better than me, son. RK heard this, and the realization struck him. SV might have trusted him, at least for that night. Something shifted inside him, something he couldn't quite explain. He thought, am I the one she allowed to be near her? The one she felt comfortable with? He couldn't believe it himself, questioning everything. He tried to make sense of whatever SV's mom had said, and he knew deep down that it was true. All his anger vanished in that moment, as if it had never existed in the first place. It felt as though his heart had always been waiting to hear something that proved her harsh words from that morning weren't meant for him. Now his heart, mind, and soul were clear. He wasn't sure what had just happened, but he wasn't in the mood to question it anymore. He just wanted to embrace this indescribable feeling coursing through him. It wasn't for me, he whispered to himself, a joy blooming inside him that he couldn't put into words. He remembered every detail of that night, how he cared for her, how he couldn't bear to see her in that condition. He had taken her out of that closed room, made her eat, stayed by her side all night, and ensured she felt comforted. He recalled how she hesitated but eventually ate from his hand, how she had fallen asleep on his lap. As the memory of her silent, peaceful sleep came back to him, A natural smile spread across his face. This was what he had wanted to know for so long. SV's mom broke the silence, her voice filled with gratitude. I'm very sorry, son, for all that. And thank. RK came out of his thoughts and interrupted gently. Why are you saying that, Mom? It's nothing. This time, his voice was steady, and with 100% certainty, you could feel that SV's anger from that morning now meant absolutely nothing to him. He continued, It's my duty, Mom, as she is my wife. For a moment, RK realized what he had just said. Did I just call SV my wife? But something shifted in him. Something that told him it wasn't a big deal. He ignored the thought and moved on. This time, SV's mom smiled. A small but genuine smile of happiness. Perhaps the first time during their call. RK's words, and more importantly, the joy in his voice, reassured her. Her daughter was with the right person. Someone who could care for her, even when she didn't want to be cared for, or when she got angry if someone tried. And RK was proving it time and again. SV's mom added, Thank you, son, for being by her side. But please take care of yourself first. She's a little mad, as you definitely know by now. RK chuckled, replying playfully, A little, Mom? Both of them laughed, their shared understanding of SV's nature bringing a lightness to the conversation. As the call ended, RK took a deep breath. The smile on his face remained unwavering. When he looked at the view in front of him, everything felt different, smooth, calm, and relaxing, as if the world had shifted into place.